The middle-class treadmill. Sounds kind of familiar, right? Today, we're diving into a question that seriously haunts millions of people. Why is it that even when you start earning more, you never actually seem to get ahead? Let's break down what's really going on here. So, does this sound familiar? You're earning more money, but somehow you're still broke at the end of every month. You know the feeling. You get that raise, maybe a promotion, a better paying job, and for a second you feel this rush of like, yes, I made it. But then fast forward a few months, you look at your bank account and you're right back where you started, still living paycheck to paycheck, just with a bigger paycheck. What is going on?
Okay, and here's the most important thing you need to hear. You're not failing. It's not because you're bad with money. You've actually been caught in a series of these invisible financial traps, and they're incredibly common. They're basically designed to keep you running in place. So in this explainer, we're going to shine a huge spotlight on them, make them visible, so you can finally step off that treadmill for good. All right, first up, the trap of daily spending. Let's start with the small stuff, right? The tiny little decisions you and I make every single day that feel completely harmless, but are actually draining our wealth $1 at a time. Think of it like a slow leak. This is where that treadmill really starts picking up speed.
And the first, and maybe the sneakiest trap of them all, is something called lifestyle creep. This is the silent killer of getting ahead financially. It's so tricky because it feels like a reward, right? It feels like you're finally living the life you deserve. But what it really is, it's like a perfectly designed cage that just expands a little bit every time you get a raise, just enough to keep you trapped inside, no matter how much you're earning.
And here's how it works. And what's so wild is how normal this whole process feels. A raise hits your bank account, and almost automatically, your expenses just level up to meet it. You get the nicer apartment, you upgrade the car, you get all the premium streaming subscriptions, you start eating out a little more often. None of it feels wasteful. It all feels justified. But the end result, it's always the same. That gap, that crucial gap between what you earn and what you spend, the place where wealth is actually built, it just vanishes.
And, a huge driver of this lifestyle creep is just paying for convenience. We're talking about the food delivery fees, the express shipping, even the pre-cut vegetables at the grocery store. Each one of those little choices is a trade. A little bit of money for a little bit of time or comfort. And in the moment, it feels like a totally smart trade. But these small cuts, they add up to a massive financial bleed over the long run.
Seriously, take a look at this number. $6,000. That's potentially how much those minor conveniences can add up to in a single year. Think about that. That's money that could have paid off a credit card, started a serious investment account, or built a real emergency fund. But instead, poof, it just vanished into delivery fees and little shortcuts.
And this brings us to another one of these sneaky daily traps, what we can call the brand loyalty tax. I mean, look at this. You're often paying double, literally double, not for better ingredients, but for the story that a brand tells you. It's a tax on wanting to feel a certain way, and believe me, it can cost you tens of thousands of dollars over your lifetime.
Okay, so we've talked about the small daily leaks. Now let's talk about the giant holes, the trap of major debt. These are the big decisions, the big ticket items that can lock you onto this treadmill not just for a few years, but for decades.
First on the list, the car payment treadmill. Oh, this one is so deceptive. You know the pitch at the dealership, right? It sounds perfect. Hey, we can get you into a brand new car for a lower monthly payment. It feels like you're totally winning the game, but the math behind that deal is designed to make you lose. Permanently.
Okay, so here's the trick. Here's how it works. That lower payment, it's because they're stretching the loan out over a much longer time. We're talking 7 years now, sometimes more. And the kicker, the leftover debt from your old car loan just gets rolled right into the new one. So from day one, you owe more than the new car is even worth. That's called being upside down. And then every few years, you do it all over again, just restarting the debt clock, never actually getting anywhere.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? You think you're upgrading. Really, you're just renting with extra steps and worse terms. You're chasing the feeling of an upgrade, but all you're really doing is locking yourself into a permanent cycle of debt. It's not ownership, it's just really, really expensive renting.
All right, next up is a trap that literally millions of people are stuck in right now. The minimum payment illusion. The credit card bill comes in the mail or, the email, and you see that little minimum payment number, and it feels so manageable. It feels safe. It feels like you're on top of your debt. But what you're really doing is just feeding the monster. Just look at the math here. It's absolutely devastating.
Let's say you have a $3,000 balance. You make that $60 minimum payment. Guess what? Only about $10 is actually going to your debt. The other $50, poof, gone, vanished into interest. At that rate, you'll be paying for more than 12 years and you'll end up paying back almost $6,000, double what you originally owed. That minimum payment isn't there to help you. It's designed to keep you a customer forever.
And that leads us to what is, for many people, the biggest trap of all: becoming house poor. This is when the great American dream turns into a financial nightmare. You own the address, but in reality, the address owns you.
And here's a really dangerous misunderstanding so many of us have. Getting approved by the bank is not a sign that you can actually afford the house. The bank approved you for the maximum amount of money they can make off of you, not the maximum you should be spending. They're not factoring in the new roof, the broken water heater, or, having any money left over to actually live your life. As the source says, what you got wasn't just a house, it was a beautiful financial prison.
Okay, so we've covered the daily spending traps and the big debt traps, but now let's talk about the most powerful traps of all, the ones that live right inside our own heads, the trap of your mindset. These are the stories we tell ourselves, the beliefs that drive all the other financial mistakes.
I mean, think about these. Keeping up appearances. We're financing an image for people who probably aren't even watching. Then there's the emergency-free delusion, this belief that, oh, that won't happen to me, that we're the one exception and nothing will ever go wrong. Or retail therapy, using shopping to make ourselves feel better, which just creates more debt and more stress. And maybe the most dangerous one of all, the retirement delay. That little voice that says, I'll catch up later.
And that "I'll catch up later" idea? This slide shows the brutal, irreversible cost of that thinking. Look at the difference. Starting at 25 versus starting at 40 with the exact same monthly investment. We're talking about a difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why? Because of compound interest. Time is literally more valuable than money here. You can never, ever get that lost time back. It's gone forever.
Okay, I know after all of that, it's easy to feel a little overwhelmed. But listen, the whole point here is not to discourage you. It's the exact opposite. It's to empower you. Because seeing the traps, well, that's freedom. That's your first step to taking back control. Because the first step to escaping any trap is just knowing it's there.
See, these traps work so well because they're invisible. They disguise themselves as just normal life. A car payment? That's normal. Using a credit card? Everyone does it. Buying the biggest house the bank will give you? That's seen as a smart move. They are traps hiding in plain sight.
And they feed on our most powerful emotions, right? Comparing ourselves to others, that fear of missing out, stress, and just good old-fashioned procrastination. They win because it's always easier in the moment to just go with the flow than it is to make a tough, conscious choice.
But here's the key. This is the whole point. The moment you can actually name a trap, that's the moment you can start to avoid it. The second you can look at a situation and go, wait a second, that's lifestyle creep, or, whoa, this sounds like the car payment treadmill, you break its spell. Naming it gives you power over it.
So that brings us to the final and honestly the most important question. Now that you can see them, which traps are you in? Now that you can name them, which ones have you been caught in? Because just asking that question, that self-awareness, that's your first, most powerful step to finally getting off this treadmill for good.